Okay, so before I get into this video, I just want to make the disclaimer that this video contains a lot of opinion, and also the information contained in this video is used for entertainment purposes only. Definitely follow um, your own guidance, your own intuition when listening to this. So Angie Stone passed away March 1st, I believe, in a car crash, supposedly, with 7 people, including the driver of the van. But somehow she was the only person that died. That just doesn't sit right with me, especially after she made a video about how her record company, I believe was Universal Music, stole her royalties, and how she was planning on getting her royalties back. She said in her video that she could have retired a long time ago. And actually, I talk a little bit about this in the video I made about Angie Stone. You could view that on my channel. But what a lot of people don't know is Angie Stone wasn't just a regular performer. She was she wrote songs, okay? She rapped, she sang, she pretty much did it all, okay? She was she used to be a cheerleader. She would play basketball, okay? Angie Stone was very talented and very gifted. Her voice was very soulful, and you could feel the energy and the vibrations in her music. Um, and a lot of her songs were very uplifting and uplifting to other people. She supported people. She supported Black women. She supported Black men. You know, she seemed like a person with a very giving spirit and a big heart. And a lot of times, that is how a lot of Black women are. Okay. We can be very giving, we can be very supportive to other people, or even just giving in the fact of, you know, using our talents and gifts to uplift, you know, the world. Okay. And, but, you know, once we say are not so needed anymore, or, you know, our gifts are used up, I'm not saying this is the case with Angie Stone, or we are no longer here, it's like, okay, are we forgotten about? You know, are the things that we did, are those forgotten about? You know, um or when something tragic happens, do anybody question, or do we just let things slide? As in the case of what happened with Angie Stone. Like I said, supposedly, you know, she died in a car crash, but to me, it doesn't add up or make sense. And it's definitely a conversation that I think needs to continue, and somebody needs to be investigated. So I definitely wanted to make this video because I've been hearing Angie Stone's song, and I know I said I was going to make another video, and I have, you know, I said it to myself, but um I have, you know, I didn't make it. It's been a while, and kind of, you know, procrastinating a little bit. But her one song was, um, that was playing in my head was seems like you're too busy for me. And check that song out because it is a really good song. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me listen to this, and let me come on here and talk about, you know, Angie Stone, because she was a legend. But not only that, you know, just as a Black woman and Black women in general, it just seems like feel left out sometimes. We may feel unsupported. And as a Black woman, I have felt this way, you know, or kind of, I hate to say this, but used and abused more so than I feel like other groups of women. That is just how I feel. That's my opinion. Um, and a lot of times when we are down or when we really need someone to be there for us, to support us, to stand up for us, it's like it could be crickets or silence, you know. And some things that I have seen, on YouTube or videos of Angie is that, you know, at one point she had got sick real bad. And even through that, she still got back up and went back to performing. But I feel like she was just tired, And I also watched another video of Taraji P. Henson, who spoke about, her issues with being in the industry, with not being paid for what she's worth or what, she is valued compared to her counterparts. And she said, I'm just tired of working. How many Black women are just tired? We're tired of not being valued like we should. We're tired of being unseen. We're tired of having to work harder than other folks. I'm not going to say who, and still being undervalued. Taraji P. Henson just said, I'm tired. And a lot of times, for just maybe equal pay or just giving our props sometimes, we have to, I don't want to say beg, but we have to do the most. We have to do the most, be the most. Black women are tired of giving all of their energy, being drained, and receiving breadcrumbs. A lot of us, like Angie, she was, according to what I have read, mostly a single mother, primary caretaker of her children. She made sure to, provide and help other people. But towards the end of her life, she was tired. I know. She was a hard worker, but as she would have had to work so hard if she was just giving her proper due, what was owed to her. With just like other Black women, too. If things were more just and balanced, the burnt out that a lot of Black women feel, whether they are celebrities or not celebrities, they could just be regular people, would be much less if things were just more balanced and just and fair. And if Black women were more supported and seen for who they truly are, which is a valuable member of this society. Someone who is a nurturer, a giver, a lover. So I just want to share a short story, and then I think I want to pull some cards and see if I could get a message from Angie Spirit. Okay, if that is okay. So I was in the store. I was at Walmart, And I only had like two things at no, yeah, two things at the time. And the regular lines were so like so busy, so many people. So I went to customer service. Nobody was there. There was a older black woman there, and I said, "Do you mind ringing me up? These two items?" And she said, "Sure, no problem." And I forgot something. I said, "Oh, you know what? I gotta go get something." She said, "Okay, hurry back." And so the time I came back, it was a older white guy. The black woman was in the back or something. And I said, I only have these three things. Do you mind ringing this up? Because the other lines were still really long. And he was not busy. There was nobody else in line. And he's like, "You're going to have to go over there, you know. And it looked like he wasn't doing nothing. Okay. He was not busy. So um, that song, Seems Like You're Too Busy for Me, definitely holds some weight there. And I was like, okay, so I just go to the other lines and I had to wait. But it was just it just was like, this black lady, she had no problem, and she might have had to maybe put up some things in stock or whatever. She had no problem, you know, basically helping me out. This is just a basic example. But this older white guy just felt like, maybe I don't feel like doing it or whatever, you know. So, but it just it was like, okay, all right, I see you. I see you. But yeah, a lot of times I just know, black women, if when something goes down, something ain't right, sometimes we're the first to yell, this ain't right. We want to be supportive of, other people. But when it's time for us to receive the help, the love, the support, and the care, who is there for us? You know, if something adjusts that is not justly or looks unfair, looks suspicious, who is there for us to say, wait a minute, something's not right? Okay, so I just want to pull a couple cards. I set the intention for this to be a message from Angie Stone, her spirit, her higher self. What message would she want to give us right now? What message would she want us to give? What message would Angie Stone want to give? Well, I just saw 3-3. 3-3 has, a couple of different meanings for me. Let's see if there's another card she might want to. I'll just get this one. Okay. Okay, so this one, if you guys see this one, is, trust the feeling you are feeling. This is like trusting your inner knowing. Okay, and I saw 1, 2, 3. What are you feeling? What is spirit trying to tell you, or your gut trying to tell you? And it's they are in black and white. So to me, they kind of seem like ghosts, really, or spirit, and this is like someone who is present, okay, but she has people behind her, okay, and they're in black and white. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? Your inner wisdom. And then we have this one. Longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Okay, so this, even though I didn't get this card, I did see this card, but it's like, there are people who are trying, who have a purpose here, who are trying to bring more light into the world. So it feels like, if you have a creative talent, or if you have some type of purpose or gift, um, she is saying to, walk into that, I feel like, or could be saying that, to help bring more lightness into this sometimes dark world we living in. And that's just the truth. To like help, shine your light, or you're being called to shine your light. And shining your light could look different. Some of you guys may be musicians or writers or screenplay writers or singers, to go after your hopes and your dreams. um it wasn't, I don't feel like it was easy for Angie Stone, but it seemed like she went with her intuition, and she did the things that she knew she could do. She knew, I feel like she knew she could do it, and she did it. She took a risk on herself. She took not a risk, but she took a chance on herself, and I guess develop her gifts and talents, and was able to be successful with those. Look at this, creating heaven on earth. Oh my goodness, it is happening. Oh my goodness, wow. So it's like the more of us, speak up on things that we feel passionate about, the more of us that try to overcome these obstacles and these challenges, the more peace on earth, I feel, the more light we could help bring into this world. Wow. And okay, I think I'm gonna kind of cut the deck on this one. Let's see. Choo choo choo. Let's see. Okay. Ooh. Okay, I cut the deck. Narcissistic. Narcissist. Okay. So also, while I cut that deck, these people here, while at first I'm like, ooh, they look like ghosts, they could also be feeling like people who are narcissistic, people who are, like energy vampires, people who just take, but they don't, give nothing in return. So maybe this is like just, this could be saying like maybe she dealt with this, and maybe she could just be relaying like, trust your inner feeling. When it comes to family, when it comes to friends, when it comes to people in your close circle, um, you know, sometimes we think we could trust people, and um that's not the case. But trust your that feeling of how do you feel around these people? How do they make you feel? Because they could be narcissistic and draining energy vampires for real. Okay, let's see. We're gonna cut. Damn. Walk away. Walk away. Shit. So people who are narcissistic, leave you feeling like this is a one-sided relationship. She is saying walk the fuck away. You guys don't like cussing? I'm sorry. I cuss sometimes. Damn. Nice person. They take advantage of nice people. And then nice person. A lot of these energy vampires take advantage of people who are nice, unfortunately. I'm in my head. I don't know why I'm getting like first I first I thought of over giving, and I thought of overspending. So damn, I gotta walk away again. So somebody need to walk away. Oh, look at this. I love you and spiritual teacher. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. And then we have raise your vibration. Ooh, how many of us need to raise our vibration? Okay. And, sometimes raising our vibration could be, you know, I don't know, putting on some music and dancing. Um, in my head, not feeling sorry for yourself. Like, you know, it's giving me the feeling of like, yeah, we, there are some things that we go through that are, really messed up, but don't get caught up in like feeling sorry for yourself and just move on, I guess. Move on. You are growing and transforming. Okay. And then let's see. We have communicate. So if you guys feel like you need to communicate something, speak your truth about something. Ooh, okay. Let me see if I could get one message. One more message, I think. And then I'll leave this to me. You guys let me know in the comments below, how do you feel about this video? How do you feel about this message? Do any of these cards resonate with you? How do you feel about being a light worker here? Or are there some gifts and talents that you have inside of you that maybe you're not using all the way? And whoa, okay. So we have all past leaves home. So trust your intuition again. Inner authority and intuition, turn your gaze within. And I see 4-4. Wow. So no matter what other people say, if you're feeling something, yeah, it might be leading you to something. Okay, we have weight of the world, boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. Ooh, okay. So, she's in water. It makes me think of, if you guys are, interested in doing spiritual bath or any type of cleansing with using water, do that to cleanse your energy. You might be feeling some emotions that you're picking up from other people, you know, or maybe you might just have a lot of responsibilities that is on your plate that you shouldn't have. It's not for you to be responsible for. I feel drawn to read from the book. If you guys give me a second to find it. And as I was looking for this card, I also turned to the page for this one. So I might, and I see 1212. So I might read that one too. Okay, it says, you don't need to carry it all. Black women, you don't need to carry it all. You're no good to anyone if you're running on empty and bogged down by the weight of the world. This card is a reminder to look after your own well being before anyone else. To stop carrying the world's problems on your shoulders. To put on your own oxygen mask first. In these changing times, it's hard not to feel overwhelmed by the state of the planet. However, you can't take on its problems from a place of energetic depletion. This card is thanking you for caring so much. You want to build a better world, and ease the road for others. And that's incredible. But the way you've been doing so is likely unsustainable. This isn't to say you should switch off to the words problem and become unconscious. Rather, it's a call to establish clear boundaries so that you're not constantly taken out energetically. The planet needs you to be healthy both physically and emotionally. So instead of digesting the news or reaching for your phone as soon as you wake up, I'm guilty of that. Dang. Show up first to a nourishing practice such as meditation, soul inquiring, deep breathing, or exercising in nature. This is definitely my message. Comment below if you feeling this message. Once you're in a state of grace and your inner well is full, you can face the day, the state of the world, and care for others. And at the day's end, take an energetic shower by emptying out anything that's not yours to carry. You can pick it up again in the next morning if you choose so, but give yourself time and space to rejuvenate and rest. Wow. And then journal prop if you might want to write this down. What are you carrying that it isn't yours? And then I also want to read this one. If you guys bear with me. This says, we the Hathors, deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. Birth is a portal that ushers in new life. The Hathors are here to remind you that you're a child of the cosmic mother, and you're being called to be held by her deep, never ending love and embrace. This is a tender, nourishing card reminding you to receive the deep, deep love of the mother's embrace. The Hathors know that the journey on earth can be rocky and lonely at times, but you're being reminded to rest more deeply in the mother's arm. This is a card of extreme potency, of femininity, of creation, and of birth. You're being called to mother yourself and others too, to surrender to your sacred femininity, to create and surrender to your own creations, to hold and be held. You're being called to remember your place in the web of life and to realize that the cosmic mother is watching you every step of the way. You may be going through a transition right now, moving from one way of being to another. If so, you're being reminded that you cradle in a sacred container. You are cradled in a sacred container. That you're more held than you can imagine, and you have access to more love than your heart can bear. If you are struggling in any way, you are being reassured that things will work out. Open yourself to receiving the overflowing love of the cosmic mother, flooding towards you from every direction. Let it stretch your heart. Okay, so this is all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading and this message. Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.